Benvenuto, welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're going to make flapjacks. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking we might, or a lot of you are thinking we are going to make pancakes. No, that's not what we're going to make. A couple weeks ago I was watching the great British Bake Off celebrity stand up for cancer. I think it was series 2. And the first challenge was flapjacks. And again, I thought, oh, they're going to make pancakes, so I can do that and make that. Most of the stuff on there I wouldn't even dare try to make. But anyway, no, it's not pancakes. Flapjacks are a oat kind of chewy bar type of thing. Maybe on the idea of, if you haven't seen them before, you're not familiar with it, I'd say like it's kind of on the idea of like maybe a Rice Krispie. It's that type of gooey and chewy baked sweet. And I guess it's very popular there for lunches and breakfast and things of that nature. Also kind of like a granola bar. But anyway, this is actually our, fourth attempt at making these. My fourth attempt at finding the right ingredients, the right combination, the right measurements, till I got to the point where I liked the texture of it and anything. And I think this is our third video of making one. But anyway, this is my fourth attempt to get this recipe right. The first time we made it, I had found literally hundreds of recipes online for flapjacks. Tried a couple of those, didn't like the way it came out. The first one I made, we'll go over it in a moment, but I made it with whole grains, and that was an absolute disaster. It didn't hold together. Second one, I made it with steel cut oats. Even more of a disaster. It all fell apart in little tiny pieces. The third time, in the third video we made, and I believe Wade's probably gonna have fun showing all my fails on this video, but the third one we made actually came out. It was tasty. It held together. Problem was, it was very hard and very brittle, and I didn't quite like the texture of it, and it was very thin. So, and those were all different recipes that I kind of combined together, and I have come up with one that I think is good. So, with that being said, let's go on to what we're going to need for today's flapjacks. First thing you need, of course, the main ingredient is oats. Okay, so this is the one I used first, which all of us in America know. This is just kind of old-fashioned oats. Which we use to make what we call oatmeal. Well, every recipe I found called for porridge oats, which I just thought in the UK and that side of Europe they call oatmeal. Well, no, that's not really the case. So then after doing a lot of research, I found some other people that online that suggested using Irish oatmeal or Scottish oatmeal. So I got this. This is steel cut oatmeal. Wrong one. Okay, so what it turns out to be is you need quick cooking rolled oats. Okay, this brand just happened to be the one that I had at the store, so that's what I picked it up. I don't have any particular fondness for one brand or the other. Now, the important thing is you want quick cooking ones. You don't want instant ones. Instant ones are not going to work the way that you want them to work. So you want quick cook oats, which have a texture like this. They're actually cut differently than if we looked at, sorry, this one isn't open. These are the whole grain oat that's just rolled out, and it's the whole size of the oat. These are cut a little bit. And then opposed to the steel, which are totally different. It's just the hard oat cut into small pieces. All right, so anyway, get rid of those two. Those two are not the right oats to use. These are the right oats. All right, so then the other kind of interesting thing, and I've seen this because I watched the British Bake Off quite a bit. I've seen this in other episodes, but they use, in England, they have a product called golden syrup, and that I guess is quite popular in the UK. Now, in one of the big international supermarket chains up in my area, which is in everybody's area in the United States, they have a small international aisle, so I was able to get the golden syrup there. So I would suggest you check in your supermarket, especially if you've got a big chain one close to you. It should be in the international aisle. If you can't get it, you can get this online. It's very, very easy to get online. That big, gigantic place where everybody goes to that has the smiley boxes that, like in my house, there's one that comes to the house almost every single day. You can get it there. If you don't want to do that, you certainly can use corn syrup. Now, the two are different. This is not corn syrup. From what I did research, this is actually made from cane sugar, which is caramelized through a process, so on and so forth. Corn syrup, as far as I know, is made from corn, right? I might be wrong. But you can also use corn syrup. Especially if you haven't had them, you're not going to notice the difference in the flavor all that much. But this is just a beautiful golden syrup. It's got a slightly caramelized taste to it. It's delicious. I could eat it by the spoonful. All right, and then we're going to need 2 sticks of unsalted butter. We're going to need a cup of light brown sugar. Now, interestingly, that's one of the problems that I ran into because I've tried different types of sugar. Most of the recipes I saw either called for a dark brown sugar or white sugar. In the test that we did and the video that we did where they were too hard, I used dark brown sugar because that's what I had seen on a lot of recipes using. I scratched that. I've done a test recipe on this and it came out perfectly, so that's how I've developed this, so I know this recipe is going to work. And I used light brown sugar, lightly packed. You don't want to firmly pack it, but you want it pretty well packed in there. All right, so that's a cup of that. Of course, all the full directions will be where you'll add to the website or somewhere on the page. I said so you need 2 sticks of unsalted butter. You got your golden syrup, your light brown sugar, and a little dash of salt. Oh, and we're gonna go over this in a minute, but our preparation of our pan, so I'll talk about that in a minute. All right, let's get baking. Okay, we're back. Now this recipe putting it together goes through very, very fast and very quickly, I should say. So you want to preheat your oven to 375 because your oven's going to be heated by the time we get done with this. What we're going to do is we're going to prepare our pan, okay? So what I've got here is just a little bit of vegetable oil, vegetable shortening, all right? I don't know if this is something I came up with or I've seen this from someplace else, but we're going to put some parchment paper in here to help us ensure that we get our flapjack out because it's a ooey, gooey, sticky type dessert. So I don't know. So I'm just putting a little bit of vegetable shortening inside the pan. I've got an 8-inch square pan here. I found that this recipe works the best with an 8-inch pan. All right. That's where you're going to get the thickness that at least we found that I liked with the finished product. All right, so you just kind of put a little bit of your vegetable shortening down, and what that's going to do is that's going to make your parchment paper stick to your pan. So when you go to put your vegetable shortening on the parchment paper, it's not going to roll around all over the pan on you. So you want to get that down nice in the edges. All right. And then the corners, I should say. There you go. And then we're gonna look at that. Keeps your parchment paper in place. And you want to make sure you get the corners and up the sides of it. You can get the corners and everything nicely covered. All right, there you go. There's your prepared pans. All right. Okay, so on to the next step. So in this pan, I've got my butter already melting. Again, that's unsalted butter. It's two sticks or a full cup of butter. 1 stick of butter is a half cup, so 2 sticks is 1 cup. I suppose you could also, if you wanted to make this totally vegan, I've seen a couple recipes where they used vegan butter or margarine or whatever it may be called, and it seemed to work out well. So if you wanted to make it totally vegan, you could do that. So you can see our butter is just about dissolved. All right, we're going to put a pinch of salt in there. All right, so good pinch as you put your hand in your salt. Just give it a good pinch. Now, if you happen to be using salted butter, you don't need that additional pinch of salt. All right, so then we want to put we've got our butter just about a little bit over a simmer, not quite a boil. We want to put our brown sugar in. And start to get that dissolved. This is so quick and easy, even the bake time. When I saw these, one of the reasons I kind of thought it was it looked tasty, and I thought, wow, that'd make a great thing to bring to a cookout, or if you were having a cookout, or to throw in lunches for the kids, because it doesn't need any refrigeration, it doesn't need to be kept hot. So certainly would go well on a dessert table at a cookout or something of that nature. Transfers easy. So we're going to start to let our butter all dissolve. And we can start to add in our golden syrup, which is going to take a while. It is so thick. Now I actually put a little bit more in. My recipe calls for 2/3 of a cup. Of course, I put in a little tiny bit more because we're not going to get all of this out, but I'm going to get most of it. Look at that. It smells just like caramel. It's absolutely delicious stuff. There's a lot of recipes online that you can even make your own golden syrup. It does tend to be expensive. So like I said, we got almost everything out of there because it's imported. So I don't think we have any companies that make it here in America, although I haven't completely researched that. In the US, America. Yeah, I'm going to try to scrape a little bit more out because it's too good for it to go to waste. Alright, that's as good as we're going to get it. So you want to let this, come to a boil or down real close to it. You'll see as it heats up here. So I'm just, I've got it on about medium, maybe medium high, and I'm just letting this slowly come to a simmer and get our brown sugar nicely melted in there. Okay, that's getting close. So you want it to kind of start to take on the look like you're making caramel. Ooh, can you smell it?
Yep.
All right, so that's it. Give it maybe another minute stir or so. Everything's nice and combined. And we can remove that from the heat. So, again, these are quick cooking oats, so the little bit of time that they're going to have in the oven, plus this is going to get those nice and tender. So then I just start to slowly add them in, stirring it. It's going to start to get thick. And really what you're looking for is just looking to get all your oats nicely coated. It's not going to turn to liquid or anything like that. It's going to have the consistency of very, very thick oatmeal. And you want to get every little oat coated and absorb up that butter and golden syrup and brown sugar. And believe it or not, that's almost all there is to it. So that's just about how you want it. You don't want it to be too thin. You don't want it to be too thick. I don't know how I describe that consistency. It's kind of, I don't know. How would you describe it? I don't know.
No,
it's kind of wet and sticky, or I don't know. All right, but that is all we got to do to that. All right, and we're going to take our prepared pan. Now, I have tried this at several different lengths of time. To me, I think 15 minutes is perfect. A lot of recipes I've seen call for, between 20 and 25. I think that depends upon the oats you use, what other ingredients you use. But for this one, which I think is delicious, we're going to let it go for 15 minutes. We're going to let it go till it's a beautiful golden brown. All right, so you just kind of basically then just want to spread this out to the corners. Spread it as evenly as you can so everything is a nice consistency. And pat it down a little bit. You don't want to don't pat it too much, because the more you press it down, the thinner your bar is going to come. So, but you're going to start to see it will start to come together. Any cracks are going to close up. If you switch to a metal spoon, it will smooth out. Again, I'm just trying to make sure I got my corners nicely in there and it's even. Ooh, I'm not wasting that. Yummy. Okay, I think that's good. Just flatten that out a little bit. Okay, so off into the oven this is going to go, middle rack, and 15 minutes. I'm going to kind of keep a somewhat close eye on it. And 15, 16, 17 minutes is all it's going to need. So keep a close eye on it, of course, depending upon how your oven keeps time. Okay, Google, set a timer for 15 minutes.
Sure, 15 minutes. And we're starting now.
So remember, that's 375, 15 minutes. See you in a bit. Okay, everybody. I checked it at 15 minutes. I felt it wasn't quite brown enough, so I put it in for another 3. Okay, Google, stop. And let's see what it looks like. All right, there you go. I think that looks much better. You see it's a nice golden brown. You got a little bit of cracks or a little bit of, like, you can see a little bit of holes kind of in the middle. Now, the middle is still going to be a little soft. That's going to firm up, of course, as it cools down and the golden syrup gets firm again and everything. So I think that looks pretty good. Hopefully this came out as well as the first test batch I did of this recipe. It does have to cool thoroughly. So we're going to put it on a wire rack and let it cool probably for a good half hour before you try to pull it out, maybe even a little bit longer. There's so much, with the parchment paper and the vegetable shortening, that should come out. Okay, we'll see you guys when it's ready to come out. We'll see if they came out chewy and gooey like we want them to. Okay, it looks like it came out like I wanted it to. We're going to just take it out of the pan and see, just kind of lift up your one edge. You'll be able to get your hand under there. And hopefully it all stays in one piece as you take it out. All right, good.
Smells good.
Smells delicious, doesn't it? Okay, so it's still, it is a little bit warm. It's cooled down for about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. We're going to cut it. So now you can cut this into any size pieces you want. But I've kind of, the recipe I've kind of done it so that you can get either 16 or 9 pieces depending upon what size you're looking at the bars. I like them kind of like in between the middle. So I find the easiest way to cut it is to take your knife and start at one end. Try to keep it straight and cut it like that. Again. And we'll do one more. I won't bore you all by cutting it all up into squares, but you can see everything held together nicely. All right, and then cut there, into 4s. All right, and now this is going to even firm up a little bit more as it cools down a little bit. It looks perfect. This is what it looked like on the Great British Bake Off. So let's give it a try. Then I'll cut these all up nicely for us and let it run.
Delicious.
Delicious.
Nice and crunchy on the outside, chewy on the inside.
It's got a nice kind of caramely taste to it, and also a little bit of oatmeal tasty. So,
Wow.
I think this is the recipe, guys. I hope you make it. I think you'll enjoy it, especially if you have never had flapjacks, which we never had. You can see, look at how nice and crispy it is on the top. And then you got that soft gooiness in the center. Anyway,
Very good.
I hope you enjoyed watching this. We enjoyed making it for you. What should they do?
Visit jerryhillhomecooking.com and like us.
And subscribe.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Ciao.
Bye.
Good. Perfect.